Hello and welcome to Adobe InDesign Terms and Tips. Let's start out with some terms and tips before getting into the next video, which will be on file menu options. Let's start out with what is a pica. A pica is a typesetting unit of measurement used to measure between lines of type. You may be more familiar with points, which is used in a program such as Microsoft Word, but in the design world we use picas. So here on the right of your screen we have a conversion chart. 1 pica equals 12 points. 72 points equals 6 picas, and 6 picas equals 1 inch. Well, what if I don't have time to convert picas to inches or points? Can I just use inches? Well, sure, but at least know what a pica is if you did have to use it. In InDesign, the width and height box is set to use picas and points. So if you want to use inches, make sure you type this in the box. So for width, you want to type in 8.5 IN, and for the height, 11 IN. It's important to have the IN entered in the box because it tells InDesign that you want to use inches, and it will automatically convert those into picas once you have entered those into those boxes. The next thing to think about is the intent of the project or the document that you are creating. Intent is important. You want to use these couple questions to help you figure out the purpose and the intent of this document. So what is the intent of this document and who is your audience? Those two questions right there are important for you to know because that will lead you into the next couple questions. Is it going to be a print document? Is it going to be on the web such as a PDF document, or is it going to be a digital published document? You can change these settings for your documents at any time, but it is highly recommended to have this set at the intended purpose. That way it saves you time when you are rushing around trying to get those final settings set. I want to talk about what is a bleed. It is a printing term. It's the little area that goes beyond the edge of a sheet of paper before trimming. So what it does, it gives the printer a small amount of space to account for in movement of paper and to produce a consistent design. And bleeds are generally 1/8 of an inch where the cut is to be made. And of course it varies from printer to printer, so generally it's a good idea to know and or ask what are the specifications are required if printing at a copy shop. So here we have on the right a sample business card. The bleed area is in pink, and the trim line, you're just going to trim that right off with a pair of scissors or a paper cutter, and then you have your final product, which is your business card. Next, I want to talk about what is a slug. It's the space outside the print area and the bleed area of a document. It contains registration marks and other printing instructions to identify a document. The slug line might be a word or two such as a title, a name, or a date, and slugs are just used for tracking devices to identify which version of a document is current or not. It also shows up when editing a digital file, but when it gets printed, the slug usually is not printed at all. It's just there. And the use of slugs are less common. Sometimes you just need to plan things out. Why? Because of two reasons. The first reason why it's important is because if you are working with a client or business, they think you have a magic wand and you can just make their design and document needs happen fairly quickly. Well, you know what? The sad reality is you don't have that magic wand and you just need to plan things out. Another important note is that any creative thing you make involves a compromise between cost, quality, and time. It can be good and fast but not cheap. It can be good and cheap but not fast. It can also be fast and cheap, but it can be crap. All these decisions should be made before you get started on your new document. And finally, the second reason is you have to think about the project. Just spending those few minutes on document prep can actually save you hours of time instead of rushing at the end with last minute revisions. So definitely recommend in just planning things out and thinking about the project. To wrap things up, let's talk about good housekeeping. You should keep organized and stay organized. Like I said before, keep your computer clean. Organize those files. Take a few minutes, empty the trash, organize those files, and create folders for your projects as you go. In the long run, it'll save you time in finding files. Well, I hope this was informative for you, and I would like to thank you for viewing. See you next time!